We are remembering today when President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his activist Democratic-dominated Congress established the Reorganization Act. Leaders of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, John Collier and Felix Cohen, worked with FDR to repeal the Dawes Act of 1887 and establish the Indian Reorganization Act.
The Indian Reorganization Act ended the allotment of tribal land and extended trusts of already existing allotments. It also kept lands from being taken away from tribes without their consent and allowed the Secretary of the Interior to accept additional tribal lands in trust and to create new reservations on this land. The act attempted to encourage tribal self-government by recognizing the tribal governments and promoting programs for tribal development. These programs helped set up loans for Native Americans and also helped them to find jobs, including the Bureau of Indian Affairs during the Great Depression. The programs also helped set up tribal business charters.
Cool. I think we're good.
Did it stop recording?
Hi, I'm out in the field today investigating public opinion on the Indian Reorganization Act. As you can see behind me, there is a quaint village that we have been investigating with. Opposition to the law came from a variety of sources. However, the most common argument centered around the idea of states' rights and the constitutionality of the authority of the Secretary of the Interior to remove federal lands from states' holding and take them into the trust. This was challenged in the Supreme Court when the Great Sioux Nation challenged that they were not being able to take the lands that they felt they were rightly deserved. As Justice Scalia said in her dissent, what makes today's action inexplicable as well as unprecedented is the fact that the government's change of legal position does not even purport to be acceptable to the present case. What she's saying here is this was an unprecedented step in American policy, and this was a radical change that not all were able to stomach very easily. Several tribes also opposed the act, since the United States was still placing the tribes under supervision of the Bureau of Indian Affairs rather than complete sovereignty. A final fear noted was that the tribes lived a more pastoral lifestyle, and the act would cause a reduction in the size of lands available for grazing and raising of animals in order to preserve the lands. For the pro side, however, by giving Indian lands to the individuals instead of, by taking it from the individuals and giving it to the tribe, the U.S. government sought to end the exploitation of the natives and return a more independent government structure to them. It seemed fair reparations for their activities in World War I. The historian Frederick E. Hoxie claimed that the policy change was truly a positive thing when he wrote, "The aspect of the law, together with the national government's pledge to sustain an ongoing and mutually satisfactory relationship with native tribes, remains its crowning achievement. The fulfillment of this goal is the reason, despite economic hardships and policy disputes, that the United States has been a model for other democracies struggling to forge fair, just, and mutual respectful relations with the indigenous communities." As we can see here, there were opposing views to both claims on this hot-button issue, and so it was quite a controversy when it was passed.